listening to the Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technological advanced silhouette decoys on the market. And Vortex Canada, the force of optics.
Hey everybody, it's episode 99 of the Union 0430. It has taken us, by my math, it has taken us 96 episodes to make this happen. On episode number 3, I put out a call for Pat Heinrichs from Canadian Waterfowl Supplies to come on this show, and he outright said, nope, not doing it. I don't like doing these things, and I'm a private person. Well, you know what? Once again, persistence has paid off, ladies and gentlemen, because we beat him down. And he finally just said, all right, I'll shut him up and I'll come on the show. So here he is. So please, before we get into this, I'm going to ask you, because I've never asked you to do this at the beginning of the show before, please like and subscribe, follow us, do all that stuff that you got to mash buttons on YouTube and Podbean and Spotify and whatever, because we want to see our numbers grow. And I know there's a ton of you out there watching, because I get the analytics, but you're not following. So please follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. So as you can see, we don't have a full crew again tonight. Dave is handling some stuff at home. Philly is on the streets of Toronto taking care of the crime and putting his life in danger, I'm sure. So he's not with us. So we got Ryan coming to us from Nova Scotia tonight. We got Mark coming to us from outside the nation's capital, and all the way from southwestern Ontario, in Scotland, Ontario at that, Mr. Pat Heinrichs from the one and only Canadian Waterfowl Supplies, the only place to buy your gear in Canada. Pat, thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome. It's good to be here. You did a good job dragging the hermit out of the cave.
You truly are Damien's white whale.
Hey, no joke, hey Ryan.
I should have kept them going a little longer.
You should at least waited till he offered you some money.
Well, that would have been a long time. That would have been a long time. You gotta have some, but that, I wonder, are there people that I've asked and hasn't responded to me because I haven't offered them money?
Yeah, really?
Maybe.
I don't know. I know there was one guy I asked, and I don't really care. I'll talk about him on here. I'm like you, Pat, when you say you're an old man and you just don't care what you say, and if people get offended, they get offended. I'm sort of getting to that point too. So I'd asked this guy if he would come on the show. Huge following on Instagram, and I had asked him, and he was like, oh, tell me a little bit more about the show. So I told him about the show and told him all about the boys and everything like this. And he says, how many views do you get? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, it's kind of hard because most people listen to the podcast voice watching it on YouTube. And he was like, well, I guess I can come on, but I'm not promoting it. I'm like, well, I sort of kind of want you to promote the show. He was like, not worth my time. He was like, I get 30,000 views of my videos a day. I'm like, but your videos are 15 seconds long. And he was like, yeah, I'm not promoting it. I said, well, then that's fine, bud.
Should have told him that he offended you.
yeah, maybe that would have worked. So
can we take a minute?
Yeah.
Can we take a minute to recognize Ryan's Punisher halo?
Oh, that I like it, eh? Like everybody is like, we're getting stuff made like this and putting flags up. Ryan just got to go above and beyond and put his 60-inch TV with the Punisher
75.
Oh, sorry.
God.
Sorry.
60 is so 2012.
Oh.
Now you're making me feel old.
Yeah.
That's Dave. Ryan, he gone. We offended him.
No, you didn't. I'm back.
I'm back. So anyway, so Pat, buddy, again, I can't thank you enough for doing this, and we've got a pretty big announcement to make. We're going to make that later on in the show once we get into some of these questions and stuff that we have. And I know the boys are going to chime in. The beauty about this, Pat, is that we all know one another and we've all hunted together, which is really cool, because a lot of the guests that we have, some guests that we know and we've hunted with, but with you, we've actually multiple times have hunted with you, hung out with you, drank beer, the whole bit. So this is really cool to get you on the show, because when we've hunted before, which is one of the things I really liked about hunting with you, is that there was never really ever any talk of business. It was just go out and hunt and tell lies and get silly and the whole bit. There was never talk of business. There was never any of that stuff, right? It was always very candid and a lot of fun. So for this now to happen where you're on the show, and it's going to be fun, I promise you, but it is going to be a lot of talk about business, and especially Canadian Waterfowl Supplies and how you've grown to what we've said it a million times, the only source of waterfowl supplies, dedicated waterfowl supplies in Canada.
Yeah, and it's funny when we look back, because I was out in the shop there the other day, and I mean we run things a little differently because we operate out of barns and we're on a farm property and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the shop and looked, and I just went, you know what? We started with just this little room.
Is that
right? Just some pallets of decoys set inside. I think we started with about 6 suppliers, and just a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and it was a late start for us.
Okay.
Initial conversations with some of the vendors, a lot of it didn't happen until January, February of that year, and we actually went live online. I think it was August 20th of 2012.
Wow.
And with just a few pallets, not organized very well. And now I turn around and look, and then we got like 45 different suppliers right now.
And more than just the one burn.
Yeah. Oh yeah. More than, like, every barn is full.
which is impressive. So when you walk into the main one, where you've got the duck calls and stuff on the wall and your shelf, that's the original. That's the first.
That's the original. Yeah. Which actually we used to actually use that as a butcher room, for doing deer and stuff like that.
Really?
That's originally what it was. And we'd go goose hunting and bring the geese back and carve them all up inside there. And I think there's still blood on the floor.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we established the fact that, you started late, or August 22. That is late, to go live in August, and me and I know you and I have chatted about this before, and Mark and Ryan as well. But most fellas have all of their supplies bought by August.
I know.
For the most part, right? So that was really late.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussions on forums, in groups, that type of thing. So everybody knew we were going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a case where it was a late start to the year, and we were just getting our feet wet, just beginning on it anyways. So the first year is always, a little bit of trial and error, trying to figure out what we're doing, what we need to do better, what we, have to do in the future.
Yeah.
And it's our second year, I think we grew 300% in our second year. And that's what made my hair fall out. And turn gray, whatever was left there. But it was pretty phenomenal growth right away. And we were really, really fortunate that with some of the forums were based around Long Point, we had a lot of support from local people.
Yeah,
really, we did. The local duck and goose hunters, if we had it, they came here to buy it.
And to that point, Pat, in your area, there was nowhere else. Everything had to be ordered in at that point. So if you could drive down the road, walk in and put your hands on what you were looking to buy, it was a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. And we used to we used to go once a year down to the US and basically buy all our supplies, because really back then you couldn't get a hold of a lot of the products in Canada that you can now.
Right.
I mean, Rig'em Right was pretty well unheard of.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff at the big box stores was generally just one supplier.
And that's the, and like you just brought up Rig'em Right, like that's still true to this day. Like I've contacted Rig'em Right looking for stuff. Like, remember I even contacted you. I was looking for a blind bag and you were like, yeah, I'm sold out. And I contacted Rig'em Right looking for it, and they were like, talk to Canadian Waterfowl Supplies. I'm like, I did. They're out. They were like, we're not shipping to Canada, because you're it for them, right?
Yeah, we would be one of the biggest suppliers for them in Canada. Yeah, and I mean, it fluctuates year to year depending on what they have coming out, what's new.
Yeah.
With a lot of the original 6 that we started with, I mean, we've become a pretty good sized dealer for them.
Oh, I can imagine. So just to go back, because I know this was one of the questions that Mark had sent me. Like, what was the draw? Because you had a great job, and then you just you started up your own business, which, for anybody that don't know, and if you're not watching and you didn't see how much hair Pat lost, like, it's not an easy thing to get into, especially waterfowl supplies in Canada, where we don't have those large numbers, right? So what made you want to do it? There was
a hole in the market, really. That's what there was. If you there's a lot of long-term hardcore waterfowlers in Canada. At the time, they couldn't get their stuff, and it was a straight case of buying from the US. Hindsight being 2020, instead of going down for the weekend, it probably would have been a lot cheaper for me actually to get it shipped, because by the time I hauled my family down and paid for hotel rooms and meals for a weekend, that kind of thing. But there was a big hole, and we said, okay, if we start this, we worked on the business plan. We talked to a lot of the different vendors, and we were really fortunate that almost everybody just kind of jumped on and said, sure, yeah, not a problem.
That's awesome.
We'll supply you stuff. And that was even coming in late. So we've been really fortunate all through the years to deal with a lot of suppliers that are, family businesses as well. And we totally understand. And starting a business anywhere is, a lot of people, originally thought that, I was retired, and that this was something that I was just doing on the side.
Yeah.
But I mean, I quit my job to do this full time. And it's the same with anybody starting any kind of small businesses. Every year, like me, you're throwing it all on the line, sink or swim. That's what it is. And that's the nature of any kind of business.
Yeah. There's risks. It's mind blowing, really, because when I'm sure there's people on the outside that looks and they goes, oh, well, Pat has this, so obviously he's raking in a pile of money and he's filthy rich now and all this, right? Because people don't see the amount of hard work that goes into it, the sleepless nights, the gambles, and the word I'm looking for is sort of like the risks that you take every day. Because every day you're trying to figure, okay, if I bring this in at this price point, am I going to be able to sell it at a good price point that people are going to buy it? And then I can still turn around and make a few dollars. And people don't understand that there's not a whole lot of wiggle room from the manufacturer's price to what you're setting your price at, right? Like, there's not a whole lot of room there for profit.
Our biggest issue always seems to be the Canada US dollar exchange.
Right.
I mean, originally when we started up, it was par at the time. So we were selling a box of decoys for just a few dollars more than they were selling them for in the US, which was just, boiling down to shipping costs and some duty, and that was it.
Yeah.
And we've always tried to stay, very competitive. And sometimes we have pretty poor margins on products, and sometimes we have better margins on other products. But when you start up a business, and I've seen and talked to some people that think that it's all going to be rosy, and I got to pay myself $4,000 a month, and I never paid myself for 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years. Every dime that we made went back into the business.
Yeah.
And you have to have a very understanding wife to be able to get away with it.
Yeah,
but
I
we're
bet.
really fortunate. I mean, everybody in our family has chipped in and helped. Even though the grandkids are coming around, and it's going to be a case where, down the road, they'll be helping out a bit. Right now, all they usually do is get in there and redecorate the shop with decoys all over the place. But we're fortunate that way. We had a lot of support right in the beginning. The family support was there. Banks, dealing with banks in the beginning, man, they will not give you a single dime either. So you're doing everything yourself. That's really what it boils down to.
Boys,
and it has been a journey. We're 10 years into it now, and it was really probably after 5-6 years before I could even, sleep at night. I'd be worried about this, worried about that type of thing, because you just never knew.
Yeah,
you just never knew. So all it takes is one bad year and you're done, right?
very true. Boys, I know you got stuff for them too. So
I do have a question for you. How does it work for you, Pat? Do you approach companies for product, or do they approach you, or is it like a give and take thing? Is it always coming and going?
Back when we originally started, initially we were approaching all the companies ourselves. We've been doing this a long time now, so we do have some companies that approach us now. But a lot of times, even with the business, I mean, Ryan will be doing some research and just kind of come across something, or he'll be zipping around on Facebook or Instagram and see something and say, hey, we should take a look at this. So some of it comes from tips from customers. Some comes from us just plain doing the research on it. Some comes from, people calling us, suppliers, all the way through. But we're pretty finicky on what we sell. We're never going to carry everything. We'll never carry every single product from every single supplier, because we have a hard, fast rule where if it's not good enough for us to use, then we aren't going to sell it. And you know what? It's a simple thing, but it works for us. So if we don't think it's going to be a good product, and we have had the situation where, we thought it'd be a good idea, we bring it in, we really get to put our hands on it and look at it and say, it's going to work for us, send it back.
Yeah.
So and by sticking to that rule, it's been good.
Yeah. So Damien was recording this, and his internet isn't the most reliable, so we're going to carry on without him. But like I was asking, what do you think is the best? Like, what was the biggest challenge over the last 2 years with COVID and all the lockdowns? With Pat, like, was it because we did kind of see an influx of people like wanting to go in the outdoors and do more things, and I know if I walked a Canadian Tire, there wasn't a mountain bike left on the shelf. Like, everybody was just outside doing stuff. Yeah. Did you guys see the same kind of thing in your business, or was it kind of status quo?
We did. It was almost a case a lot of times where if something showed up, it was almost immediately gone. Obviously, there's still a lot of problems with the supply chain. That hasn't changed. Some of our suppliers, we got 60 to 70% of what we ordered. Other suppliers, we got almost nothing. So our hands were really tight on it. So it was more or less a case, whatever comes in, then we can sell it. And it's just going to be what it is. But online sales, and I think anybody in the outdoor industry or anybody that sells online, there was a definite shift. I mean, it's only been just recently in the last few months where click back over, we have more people coming back into the shop again, which is
Yeah.
really nice, because we really missed that. Instead of having a conversation with somebody, because we're all duck and goose hunters. When we get in, somebody comes into the shop, and we don't care if they're spending $2 or $200. We can sit there and we can talk, and we can talk about experiences, talk about things we've done, talk about setups, and you kind of miss that. But we still have a lot of long distance customers that we do that with, but the supply was the biggest issue, and some product not showing up until very late in the year. But it's a case of, I'm going to take it right now, so at least I know I have it for 2022. In case there's still issues. So it was a challenge, but at the same time, we did okay with it. I mean, it worked well for us. We did miss the customer interaction, but I mean, online sales were good. We can't really complain about it.
And that's your guys' bread and butter primarily anyways. And it's kind of ironic, because I imagine a lot of the big box stores felt the squeeze a little bit more, say, than you did, because online sales is your primary go-to. And for them, it's probably closer to like a 50-50 margin for them.
Yeah. And when we first started, I would say probably about 80% of our business was walk-in, and 20% was internet. And in the last few years, that's gone and shifted all the way over. So probably about 90 to 95% is online, and the balance is walk-ins. But every store, every single place, and I'm sure your areas are all the same. Everybody is still struggling with the supply chain and the shipping costs and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I got to selfishly ask a quick question. Because man, if I had that many decoys in a barn in my backyard, I would be just like frothing at the mouth to see how many I could set up in one setting. But I've guided enough snow goose hunts now that urge is gone. But I am curious to see, like, how often do you guys actually say take product, maybe like a new product this year, and you guys actually field test it yourselves?
All the time. Anything generally that's coming in and is new, either we'll run it or somebody on the staff will run it. And that really helps to kind of weed out, because sometimes you'll get something, you'll think, oh, that should work pretty good. But all of a sudden it turns out, oh, well, if I toss this around in the boat, because we're waterfowlers, we're all hard on our gear, you toss it around in the boat, it's going to break. Well, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
And we don't want to carry that. But just about everything that we have, we've used it. And a lot of times with the decoy spreads, I've got the strangest looking decoy spread out there, because we'll have boxes in the shop, and we open up a box. We got two samples there. Well, the rest of the box is going into Pat's spread. So I've got a pretty good hodgepodge of everything, a mixture of this, a mixture of that. I've got pretty well every silhouette decoy that we carry, the floaters and such like that. If it comes to a point where I have a favorite, I'll use them for a year, and then I always try something new.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Very cool. Pat, your business, it's obviously brought you places in the hunting world. What are some of the cooler, less traveled places you had the fortune or misfortune of visiting?
You know what? Actually, it's kind of the opposite way. Because we work during the season, it's not a case where we can get up and take off and go to Saskatchewan for a week or something like that. Somewhere down the road, I fully expect to hopefully be working a little bit more part-time than full-time, and then have a little bit more time for travel. We have been fortunate, Ryan's been out hunting with some groups. I've been out hunting with some groups. But as far as traveling and really getting away from the business, I mentioned that we had gone to Nova Scotia about 3 years ago before the COVID. That was the first vacation I had, I believe, since 2014.
Mm.
It's when the season hits here, consumers have changed. Everybody wants their stuff very quickly, which is something that we always try to get it shipped out the door within 24 hours. So we're open for shipping 5 days a week. The whole shop and everything is open 6 days a week, but a lot of times when the season's on, or when we've got shipments coming in, it's 7 days a week. So July, August, we can expect we'll be working every single day, and we just don't have enough time to get away anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good thing as far as the business growing, but when I worked for somebody else, I used to hunt every day, and now I don't because I work for me.
Yeah, I hear that a lot with guys who are like when I say in the industry, I mean that is their sole source of income, like it is for you, and it becomes your hobby, becomes your job, which on paper sounds amazing. Like I would love to, but you don't get to hunt every day. Like it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
No, if I can sneak out, 5-6 times during the season on a Sunday or something like that, or if it's not bad sometimes around here because of where we are. If I want to take the dog for a walk in the morning, I just grab a shotgun in case, we go walk a creek and bump a wood duck or something like that. But it's very, very hard to go away, to actually take time and leave and travel. Initially, I think the second year we were open, we did a little bit of touring down in the US just to, meet some of the suppliers instead of just talking on the phone all the time. But other than that, yeah, it's traveling, taking off to Saskatchewan, heading down to the States is just not really an option right now. And even in our off time, we started to bring in some of the turkey products, which has gone well for us in the springtime. And it's the same thing. We're not going to carry everything from everybody, but we don't really get that much time down. We spend a phenomenal amount of time on purchasing. That's really about a good month of the year to go through all the information, backtrack, dig it out, try to make projections for the year. The website has constantly got to be updated. And right about this time of the year is the big one. We've got these new products coming. We got to get these built. We got to try to figure out what the 2022 pricing is going to be on it and go from there. So it's not a very big case of downtime. Although I did get lucky today and I got to sneak out and go fishing this morning. but all in all, yeah, as far as getting much time off right now, we just don't get that much. And I don't really see that changing in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely like the premier waterfowl distribution in Canada, my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion, and probably if we actually looked at the numbers, I think it would support that too. But like, have you delivered something to every province at this point? Like, I don't like. You think you got them all?
Yeah. We've shipped all across Canada, every province, every territory. We've shipped to Europe. We've probably shipped to about half of the U.S. states.
Really? That's interesting.
Yes. And when it first started, I thought it was very unusual. But their seasons are different than ours. A lot of them,
true,
in southern areas, their seasons start later. Well, it turns out that there's all of a sudden there's none of this product available.
Oh, I never thought of that. That's a good point.
But that guy who's sitting up in Canada has got a few boxes left, so bang, away they go. So yeah, it's very surprising, and that's part of selling online though too, is that you're not just focused on one particular area. It's all across Canada. If I sit there and I look online to see who's on, or not specifically who's, but like what areas people are from that are on the website, it's all over the world. Yeah, it's pretty interesting sometimes.
Yeah, I never would have thought actually you'd be going. It's kind of interesting. You get stuff, be pushing it back across the border, but it's a good point. Like, a lot of seasons, like in the Arkansas and Texas, they don't start till November. They're not opening up, and we're well within our prime up here in like Canada. So yeah, I never even thought about that. It's pretty interesting fact actually.
Yeah, so it's surprising actually the number of sales we'll get, the December, January time for really going down to the US. So
Yeah.
You guys got anything new or exciting coming out this year?
there's some new products coming out on the market. A lot of it we don't know 100% if it's going to show up yet, because there was a lot of newer products that were supposed to premiere last year, which didn't make it to the market because of obviously supply chain issues. But as far as the suppliers, there'll be one or two new items from each of them. We're looking at a couple of more suppliers right now as well. We don't have those ironed out, but that's something that hopefully we can clear up before the season. But it's things like AvianX has got a new power flight mallard, right, which is controlled by your phone. It's an app. You can speed it up, slow it down just using your phone. Old guys like me, we don't really care about that too much, but a lot of the younger kids nowadays do, and almost everybody is on their phones all the time. We've got the Drake waders coming in, the ones that have the zippers. That'll be a new product for us. Lucky Duck kennels, dog kennels. That's brand new for us this year, right? And those just arrived a few weeks ago. We didn't get everything that we wanted, but at least we have the basic kennel units themselves. Sick has got some new products coming out. We can't really announce them or say anything about them. They're pretty stringent on that, but there is some new stuff coming there. We're hoping that the clone specs and the clone Canada geese show up this year too.
I've used those out west. Those are great. Those are great decoys.
Yeah, and you know what? There was a good demand for them, and the snows sold really well. The mallards sold really well, but everybody wants those. Everybody wants that Canada goose, and to this date, we haven't been able to get them yet. So, Lifetime Decoys is probably, and you had them on your show. The Lifetime Decoys has probably been about the most innovative new style of decoy to come out in the last few years with a different keel. It reminds me a little bit years ago when you used to see the Aquavac goose decoys, right, where the water sucked in the bottom and really they held them into place. They've got the Canada geese are here now. The diver decoys are going to be a big thing with them. The diver dekes are going to be something, because you can shoot them, drive over them with a truck. You can do whatever you want to those decoys, and they just keep on going. So
there
is some new stuff coming in. There's a couple of new things I can't really talk about right now either. But but there's there's some frying pans in the fire. So
there is something that you can talk about.
Are we going to do this without Damon? Do we have an update on Damon?
Oh, he's going to be so upset.
I don't care.
I'm in conversation with Damien through the Ethernet here, and
your internet works, Mark.
Yeah, mine works. Yeah.
Oh, mine too. Yeah.
I'm being directed through my phone what to do. Anyway,
what a micromanager he is, eh?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pat, if you want to talk about what that new thing that has to do with that you guys, it's going to be exclusively through you guys. If you want to talk about it.
Yes. So Real Geese is putting together there's a new 12-pack of Shadow series that are coming out. We've had a couple of the prototype runs for it come through. This 12-pack is really a very good, instead of it being focused mainly on feeders or uprights, it's a nice mix for anybody looking to add something just starting up or looking to add to their original spread. It's a very good price, and obviously you guys are all excited because it's called the Punisher Pack. Right? The Punisher Pack. I think everything is pretty well ironed down on that. That's going to be exclusive with us and Real Geese, and they should be arriving here sometime mid to late July, anyways, at the latest. But we're pretty excited about it. There's so many people that are starting up, and so many people that are shifting from the focus of full bodies to silhouettes, that we think it's going to be, I mean, it'll be a mover on the market for sure. It will be.
Yeah, I know we're pretty excited. When Damien told us, it sounded pretty good. I mean, Real Geese have been absolutely amazing to us, and now partner with you and your relationship with them down there. I think it's just pretty exciting for everybody on our side of the fence too. So really excited to actually get my hands on some of these and see what they look like, and see how well they do online through you.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I think they're going to be a definite plus to anybody that's looking to grow the spread, or anybody starting up. And the biggest thing that we found in the last few years, and especially with silhouettes, guys are not really in the situation where they want to have a bunch of full body decoys all the time. Late season, they're nice to have. When you're doing the February goose hunt, that you can just kind of drop them down and away you go. But you can have a guy who lives in the city who drives a Toyota Corolla who can have 10 dozen decoys and a layout blind in the back of his car. So you know, there's no need anymore for the big trailer. And it's been moving that way now probably for about 4 years. Yeah. About 4 years, where a full body decoy is just shifting away. Ducks were always a little bit behind, but they seem to be catching on now, and we've noticed some growth in duck silhouette market in the last couple of years. And I mean, Real Geese has also got the new Econo Mallards and Econo Blacks, which are going to be a pretty good price point too. So Real Geese is a good company to work with, and the nice part about dealing with them is, I mean, they're manufactured in the US. They haven't been subject nearly as much to the price increases that we're seeing from products made overseas.
Just out of curiosity, my own curiosity, have you shifted mostly to sales and silhouettes now, or is it still like full bodies?
We still carry full bodies. I would say the full body market has probably decreased by about 40% over the last 4 years. Yeah, there is a big shift towards the silhouettes. There really is. And a lot of it will boil down to shipping costs too. I mean, if you want to ship a big box of full body goose decoys, it's going to cost $50 to get it there. Really, it is. Yeah, it's
4 or 6 or whatever comes in the box.
Yeah. Whereas you can turn around and ship a dozen silhouettes for $14. Yeah. Really, 14, 16, 17, and the Punisher packs. When we looked at the packaging on them, I mean, it's got 12 decoys and the wire stakes. The box is not overly large, so we should be able to ship them all across Canada. The packaging is different than what the regular Shadow series are.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other factors as well, as the fact that the quality, I mean, like with a Real Geese, like the quality is a lot better. It's not just like this soggy piece of cardboard anymore. And two is like a lot of people, I mean, whether you mix them with full bodies or into the right situation, you can have a total spread of silhouettes, and you can kill geese over these things, no problem.
Oh yeah, we did when they first came up with the Shadow series. We ran those decoys for the first year and didn't hunt with nothing but. It still got probably 10 dozen sitting in 2 bags over in that shop right there. I was showing to a fellow the other day.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say right now, I've never appreciated Damien Pittman so much in my life as I do right now, because me and Mark don't have to split host duties anymore. We can just give it back to Damien.
They did pretty good without you, Damien. Don't
Oh,
worry.
buddy, I have no doubt in my mind it was probably better with me gone, because people don't have to listen to just my voice. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm blaming Elon Musk for it, and we'll be having words. So and luckily enough, I guess for me and for listeners, we're almost at the end of the show. So you got a good 20 minutes with not having to listen to me talk. So that probably works out. That works out well for everybody, I think.
Boy, that went fast.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I think we're about 5-10 minutes away from hitting that hour mark. And that's what I mean, right? Like, you get on this show and sometimes people think, well, I don't really have much to say, or I'm not comfortable. And I'm like, man, just come on, because the 60 minutes blows by so fast.
I know it does. And the same when I was talking with my wife, she goes, you'll stand out in the shop and talk for 2 hours about waterfowl. I'm pretty sure you can do an hour.
Absolutely. And especially when, when you've got an outlook onto it that most of us don't see, right? We don't see the side of the the dollars and cents and the logistical nightmare. Like, I remember last year, Pat, talking to you and you trying to get your supplies in on time before the season start. Like, that had, like, you want to talk about sleepless nights. Talk about having a business and not being able to have product on the shelf.
And it's no different than any other business in Canada right now. Everybody is suffering with the supply chain, with the diesel fuel prices and the shortage of trucks and drivers and such now too. It's shipping costs. Bringing LTL out of the US is absolutely horrid right now.
I remember talking to Craig Mintz last year, and I can remember him having I don't know how many sea containers off the coast of California, just sitting there waiting for someone to finally get aboard and inspect them. And he said, like, they inspected every sea container, like went through everything, and the holdup, and it's gotta be frustrating for, like, say, your suppliers just as much as it is for you, right? Like,
it is. And it's not a case where, I mean, getting overly upset. There's no point of being upset with the suppliers because it's not their fault. There's no point in this all boils back to, the shortages, the lack of labor, entire factories being shut down. And our reliance manufacture overseas, you're at the mercy of whatever's going on there. It's not a case where you have any control over it.
And that was the one thing, like, I was on the bandwagon, like, personally, I was on the bandwagon where I said, this is going to kickstart North America's manufacturing sector again. I thought, you know what? Canada is not going to put up with it, but for sure not the US is not going to put up with this reliance on overseas anymore, and kickstart the manufacturing again. But it's so hard because now I think most people would kickstart it, but you can't get anybody to work now, which seems to be the real issue, which is absolutely mind-boggling. But
I know it is to me too. I mean, we drove through Simcoe the other day, which is only about 15 minutes away. I mean, every business has a help wanted sign. Companies before, where you used to be in a situation where you would start up, you would be on a contract where, you work 3 months and your contract renewed. That's all out the way. They will basically, if you can walk and chew gum, you can get a job. Really, that's what it is. And I mean, we're talking jobs at $26 to $30 an hour. This is not little money. This is decent money.
Yeah.
So if you have the will to work, you can basically write your ticket right now. And I had a couple come in. They were from south of London, and they had sold their house, and they had bought a house and some land up near Timmins, and for a very good price compared to what the market is around here. And I said, do you have a job up there? And she goes, no, she said, we've had some initial, conversations with people, and they just go, call us as soon as you get here. You can start the next day. And that's the labor suffering right now is, I think, really, like what you said, holding back what could be a big change where a lot of products could go back to being made in the US. Because it used to be a case where you could manufacture that product in China and ship it, and it was still, 20% of what you would pay in the US to do it. It's not like that anymore.
No,
it's not.
When you look at the cost of a sea container now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me, I know about those.
Yeah.
They're painful. It's painful how much it's gone up.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you get a chance to make that announcement while I was away? You did?
Yes, about the Punisher pack.
Awesome. I am so excited about this. This has been something that's been cooking, and I've been chomping at the bit. Pat's even been like, listen, you can't don't say nothing yet. You can't say nothing yet. And I'm like, just fucking chomping at the bit here to get
you had to slap Phil's PP once.
Yeah, I had to. So we've got a group chat between the 5 of us, right? And I had sent the picture that you had sent me, Pat, when you got the sample pack and you put it out, and you were like, and whatever. So I just took that picture and I forwarded it off to the boys. I was like, check it out, boys. It's happening. Pat's got his sample pack. And fucking Phil goes and turns. No, that wasn't it. It was the video I done, wasn't it?
It was whatever.
It was the video I had done where Craig Mintz from Real Geese was printing the box, but I cut out as much that I could that would give it away. And then Phil went and reposted it and tagged Real Geese into it. That's what it was. Yeah. And anyways, I was like, Phil, no one's supposed to know about this. Oh, my bad. He was like, honestly, I believe him when he says this. He was like, honestly, I don't even read half the shit. I just forward it off. And I was like, yeah, I believe it because I've been guilty of doing it myself. So
no. And when we do that show in Grimsby that you guys are going to in August too, we'll have a pile of them there for everybody.
Yeah. So that was the big thing, because now and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but like, Pat is going to be the only person in Canada that you can order these through. So if you are hitting up that outdoor festival in Grimsby in August, save yourself some shipping money and come to that festival, show up, do the DU dinner, and you can pick up everything from Pat right there and save yourself. Because I've been talking to those boys, and they've been telling me that you've secured a fair amount of real estate on this. So
well, we've got with so many SKUs. I mean, we want to show some. Hopefully, fingers crossed, a lot of the new products show up too at the time.
Yeah.
So we can show that, and we wanted to feature Real Geese in the Punisher pack, and it takes a lot of space actually to spread all that out.
Oh, I believe it.
So
I remember
we're figuring on, a couple of trailers and stuff to go down just loaded with material for the day. So
really,
yeah.
Wow. I remember when we done the Delta days up at Long Point, at Turkey Point. Like you had a lot of gear that time, but you had a fairly small footprint too. Like you didn't have a whole ton of room, but
no, they were nice to us and let us use the whole grass area out in front too. So
yeah.
But I remember because we had a lot of boxes where there was one out or a display thing or something that was was older, and I mean people just snapped them up. We moved, considering the size of that show, we moved a lot of product that day. So
you did move a lot of product that day, and it was really good, and something that I'm hoping that this outdoor festival, I hope everybody's as excited about it as what I am, because it's something. And Pat, I know you and I have talked about this in the past, and I've talked about it with all the boys, but the days of the waterfowl shows and the outdoor shows, it seems to be going the way of the dodo, and especially where you can just go online and you can order everything now. So, and these shows, people show up, sometimes they just show up to see it because they'll just go order it online anyways, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
but what you're missing out on with these shows and ordering it online is getting to touch it and to talk to the people that's using it. Do you know what I mean? Which means so much to me, because I've been buying enough gear over the years to know I really need to touch it myself for me to know that if I'm going to be happy with it, right?
Yeah, and I'm the same way too. And Ryan says I'm a little old fashioned, but I want to put it in my hands.
Yeah.
And the first thing that we do when anything new comes in, it's like Christmas here. Let's like open some boxes. Let's have a look, pull them out. Let's take a look at them, see what we can do with them and that type of thing. And there's a lot of people that I think really feel the same way. Sometimes due to logistics, their locations, they just really can't.
That's right.
Well, we do have a lot of people that travel from all over Ontario actually to come down here too. So.
Yeah. No, and I think it's going to be a fantastic event. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, and I know some of the booths that are being set up. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised when they show up here and they see just how well this is being organized and the type of vendors that's showing up. It's going to be a bang up time. I'm assuming you're going to go to the dinner as well, Pat?
Yes. They have the dinner on. I think we're going to head down on the Friday, try to get everything set up, and then we're going to be there all day Saturday. It depends on. Generally, we find that we don't really have time to pack up right after a show, so we'll go clean up on the Sunday, but we'll be there for the dinner. I think we're sitting at the same table.
Perfect.
I'll buy you a beer.
I had asked them, I said, please make sure that our booth and Pat's are side by side. I had asked for that, but I didn't even think about asking about the table, but that makes sense, because the last time we were at a table, remember, it was at the Delta dinner here in Kingston. And we got John Lockwood's young fellow, Wesley. Remember, we all went in on getting them that package. Yeah.
He's a good kid, that young fella. He's done well for himself too.
He is. He's a good kid with some great parents. And just instilled some good values to him, right?
He's a really good kid, that one. So
very good. I don't think I missed anything, Mark.
No, we covered everything, and then you carried on from there. We're doing well.
So this was obviously the night of the two moons of Andor have aligned, because we've lost Ryan now too. So I don't know what's going on up in the stratosphere, but we're going to end it here before we start getting hit by lightning or something. So Pat, buddy, this is probably the most unorganized episode that we've ever done. So I thank you for your patience. I really do.
It was fine. It worked out well for me, and hopefully you can have me back again.
Oh, buddy.
I still had some stuff I didn't talk about.
Oh, did you want to talk about more stuff? Because you can.
Give the last review.
There was
so I did
surprises coming up. So give me a couple months and then have me back on again.
Okay, deal.
So and then after a while you're going to be going, Pat keeps calling me to go on the show.
No, buddy, I love it, and it would be good.
August before the season starts would be a good time.
It would be.
Yeah, that would be a good time. Yeah,
it would be. And anybody that's listening, especially our Canadian listeners, if there's something that you want to ask Pat, fire us a message, and we'll do it, and we'll get it out to Pat, and we'll answer it on the show. Because you know what, you guys are all working hard for your money, and I'm sure you want to know everything when it comes to what you need to buy and what you're going to buy for the upcoming season. And I get it.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult this year too, because and we're seeing it everywhere. Like obviously, there's going to be some big price increases this year. A lot of the goods that we're seeing are going to be okay. A lot of the clothing, that type of thing, there's not really so much of a price increase, but
Right.
the rigging and such is not too bad. But there are some pretty big price increases coming up in decoys. So really, when you spend your money, you want to spend it wisely.
Absolutely. But at the same time, and I can remember telling this story to you a bunch of years ago, Pat, when somebody had said, well, you could save a few dollars if you just ship it to yourself in the States and go down and pay it. But I like to support a Canadian business,
and we find that with a lot of people too, and a lot of people come right out and say that we'd rather support you than support some big box store or support somebody
100%.
right? So and that's what and I had actually even mentioned earlier, if we did not have the support of the local waterfowlers when we first started doing this, we wouldn't be in business today. Really, we didn't. And I mean, they pretty well carried us for that first couple of years in order to get us up and rolling a bit. And we owe them a big thanks, and we try hard to give back as much as we can with regards to it.
Pat, because I follow a lot of the Canadian waterfowling pages, it's safe to say that you're shipping from BC to Newfoundland, eh?
Oh yeah. And we talked about that too. We were shipping.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, we ship all across Canada. We've done every province. There are days, Damien, where every province is covered going out the door. So
really,
and we have shipped some products to Europe, and we have shipped products to the US as well too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's the power of the internet.
Did Mark tell you about the Merganser decoys? That's all the rage in Newfoundland.
So you can get
I have had so many calls about Merganser decoys.
Yeah, but Lance Holmes doesn't count.
It's not just Lance. I know,
but in Newfoundland, at Mercer Marine, hey Mark, at Mercer Marine in Newfoundland, you can walk in there and you can buy them, and they're all shrink wrapped and everything. Like, it's fucking wild.
It's like coastal, but yeah.
Coastal, is it? That's coastal.
Coastal.
Yeah.
But they got there. I even if I still lived there, I wouldn't hunt them.
It just blows my mind. It blows my mind.
Another one since since there was it's really a season open up, was people have been asking for Cormorant decoys.
Really?
Yeah. So, but that's a case really like take an old goose decoy, paint it all black, throw it out there, you're done, right?
Yeah. Well, and do you really need the decoy cormorants?
No, not with cormorants.
No, just go to those islands, they shit all over and destroy.
Absolutely. I had two in the quarry behind me, and I was ready to take care of them, but they carried on. They were there for a couple days, and then they carried on. Yeah. So I don't know why they carried on. Something must have spooked them off, but because there's fish there, there's a food source for them there, but they never hung around. I don't know. Now that brings me to a point. I wonder, would a hawk scare them off? Would a hawk scare off a cormorant?
Would a hawk eat a cormorant?
I don't know, because I have hawks around, and there's no more cormorants around. So I don't know if the hawks would scare them off.
Maybe.
Well, better to have the hawks than the cormorants.
Oh yeah, big time.
Because I mean, those cormorants are such a toxic bird.
Oh, so toxic. Not only will they decimate a fish stock, but they'll absolutely destroy any vegetation that's around.
Yeah, and and the bird itself. I mean, if you're out shooting them, and a lot of people don't realize this, never send your dog to retrieve that bird.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, your dog can be sick and even dead in 3 days. Yeah, those birds are extremely toxic. But most people don't know that.
I never knew that.
And I didn't know it either until we had a fellow come in, and he was a biologist. And we were talking about cormorants, and he goes, no. He said, just the toxins, because obviously your dog picks it up.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll give it a squeeze. Sometimes they get a little bit of crap out of the butt. Your dog, it can be disastrous for your hunt
Oh,
dog.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So never use a dog for retrieving a cormorant. Just get out in the boat, go get the net, and bring them in.
So the tip for the day is
Yeah.
If
And
you're
that's
still, congratulations if you're still listening to us three wingnuts talk. That's your tip of the day right there. We're going to
Tip of
end
the
it
day.
right there, boys, because I think we could keep going on with useless information for the rest of the night. So, well, it's not really useless. It's good information, but we'll carry on. Corey Baker gives us grief for our long episodes. So we'll end her right there.
he's not listening now.
No, he's probably not listening now, though. He's got us tuned out. Pat, we'll come to you. Mark, any last things for Pat?
No, good to see you again, Pat.
Yeah, you too.
Great conversation, great info, man. Like you're a wealth of information when it comes to the waterfowl world and the retail business side of the waterfowl world, and everything in between you and the actual companies themselves. It was great to pick your brain today, and really appreciated you coming on. And I know it's been a while, and the first time we tried to get you on, I was excited because it said, yeah, Pat'll come on. Yeah, we were all like, yeah, he'll come on. Yeah. And we didn't say nothing. Did you say something about it, Damien? I think you said something about it. That you're going to try and get him
on an episode.
Yeah.
I outright on the episode said, yeah, I'm going to get Pat to come on. Like I said,
you did. It just took a little longer.
Yeah, that's all good. It's like a fine wine.
Yeah.
That's
right. Definitely worth the wait.
Oh yeah, 100%.
No. And you know what? This is the first podcast I've ever done, and actually, it was nice sitting here talking with you guys. I enjoyed myself. I really did. So
awesome. That makes me happy that you had a good time.
And then maybe we can get together. And towards the end of August or whatever, and do another one. And I'll have some of the products kind of sitting here, and I'll have a little better handle on being able to do some descriptions and such for you.
That'd be
now,
perfect.
do you put our actual video online here too?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, good thing I wore clothes, eh? I told the wife, I could be naked if I want
to. Nobody needs to see that. I'm telling you, nobody needs. No, absolutely. So what'll happen, Pat, is that on Sunday, Dave will sit down and Dave will do a bunch of editing, which he's really going to earn his goddamn money this week, because I recorded a bit and then Mark recorded a bit, and he's got to marry it all up to make sure that it comes together. And I'm in a different location from when I started, so it's going to be funny. But so yeah, Dave will edit it. He'll upload it to YouTube for the video side, and then he uploads it for the podcast, because we've got more people that listen to the podcast as opposed to watching the video, because most fellas are driving to work or driving wherever, and they download it and they listen to it, right?
That's what we found today. Actually, we were driving around, we were listening to a few podcasts and everything too.
Yeah,
it's nice to break up a drive.
But it is especially if it's topics that you're interested in, right?
Sure.
Time. And you know what, you're starting to see more and more fellas feel that they've got something that needs to be said, and it's great. It's only good for the community. The more people that are doing it, the more people that's talking, that's shedding some education, that's providing some. One thing that we like to do is provide some morals to people, because we've got a ton of new hunters that probably didn't have a father or somebody that had the right way to hunt, to pass it down, to talk to them and teach them all about the morals and to be a gentleman when it comes to certain things, right? So we like to take pride in passing on some of that stuff, so that you're not a douchebag out in the
Yeah. And I mean, we've all run across the situations in the marshes and such where you come across somebody that doesn't have any kind of background and is
That's right.
just learn things from their friends, who don't quite do it we'll say gentlemanly way.
That's right. That's right. And no fault to them. They were just steered the wrong way, right? So we try to do that. So, but I really appreciate it. Any last words to you, Pat?
No, I'm, like I said, I'm looking forward to coming back in again. We do want to say a big thank you to, all of our customers over the years, other friends and our family, because we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for everybody there, and we've been very fortunate to have the support of a lot of waterfowl hunters in Canada. And you know what, it's put us where we are today.
Fair. Very fair. I just want to, I want to put out a point just because of a hat that I used to wear one time. When it comes to donations and stuff, listen, support the businesses that support you. And I'll leave it at that. Because there doesn't need to be anything more said than that. Support the businesses that support you. And I think that's all that needs to be said. Ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 99. It's taken us almost 96 episodes to get him on, but we finally got him on, and it was a great show. And he said he's going to come on again. So it's a win-win.
I'll come on again.
And it's a win-win for us. We hope to see you in August at the Outdoor Festival down in Grimsby. Come over, say hi to Pat and I. Mark, unfortunately, will not be there because he's moving to Nova Scotia, but he'll be there in spirit. Everybody, right. This was episode 99. We are as advertised. We're not experts. Bunch of friends that love hanging out, talking duck hunting, and talking to our friends. Big love. Surround yourself with good people. Until next time.